Good afternoon. My name is Will DeVogue, and in conjunction with Bridger Polson, David Baker, and Erica Foster, I would like at this time to show you our bid proposal presentation that we put together to hopefully open your eyes a little bit to the scope of work and how we plan to carry out this project should we be awarded. And we'd like to give you some of the details into how we'd like to start this project. So first and foremost, just to cover some of the details of the project, again, we just wanted to make sure we're all on the same page. The location is going to be in Lava Hot Springs, Idaho. It's a little over 3,500 square feet, so you're going to have plenty of room to run around, maybe have the kids do some activities. And then in the two-story area, we're going to have some lofts, which allows you to just kind of have some extra room and maybe personalize this space a little bit. And of course, in conjunction with what we agreed on earlier, we're going to be following a modern farmhouse style. This is very popular among home builders today and around the area, and so this house is gonna fit the aesthetic of homes that are already existing in the area, and it won't cause any complications in terms of if there's a nearby HOA or anything like that. Moving forward, just to confirm, this is the proposed design. This is the floor plan. You can see both the second and the first floor here. We've extended the garage just like you asked to make sure we have three cars available for you. And you also mentioned that because you had a large truck, you wanted a little bit more clearance. So we've increased the clearance for the garage by about 1 foot 6 inches. Hopefully this will give you a little bit more headroom and allow you to work a little bit without having to move your truck outside onto the driveway, for example, or complete other things. The pool is included in the designs. However, this is not included within our scope of work. There's going to have to be a separate pool contractor that's going to have to come and do that work simply because we're not as experienced in that area. And so we don't want to build you such an amazing house and then give you a pool that's not quite up to our standards. And so we have several that we'd like to recommend after this meeting if that's something you wanted to look at. But the pool will not be included with the scope. In addition to this, you can also see on the first floor, we're going to have the master suite on the first floor with that very spacious bathroom that I believe the missus asked for. Hopefully that's going to be accommodating for you. And there's going to be a very, very large bathtub. So hopefully that checks that off of her list. The great room is going to have some large windows again that are going to let a lot of natural light in and allow you to really enjoy some of the Idaho spring sunsets that come through that valley. And then up in the top, as I mentioned before, we're going to have two separate loft spaces. And what these allow you to do is you can maybe turn these into bedrooms in the future if you have company staying with you, or it just gives you kind of some extra space that allow you to personalize the house and really kind of make it your own. And so it just gives you a little bit of room just so you can expand a little bit. The estimate overall, what we're looking at is the projected total estimate cost is just under $790,000. The square footage price is going to be $225, which is very comparable to other homes that are being built in the area. All of the divisions are going to be included here. The only thing that is excluded at this time is going to be the plumbing. And that's just because we have a separate subcontractor that's going to come in and do that work for us. And that's going to be included with some of the other pricing. The project overhead, so the general conditions and the summary of work, so the materials themselves are $27,000, and then of course the general conditions, which is going to be the labor and the supervision. General conditions are going to be the cost of us actually running and managing the project. This is for the time that we're using. This is for the engineering that's going into this project. That's going to be a little under $200,000, just for your information. In addition to this, here's just this is a small snapshot. It's not as detailed. If you would like a more detailed schedule, I can provide that for you after this meeting. This just gives you a general idea of some of our key milestones. So the pre-construction and mobilization, we're set to begin in early of August in 25. And then our final punch list and the last inspections that we need to finish off are going to be towards the end of April. You will notice that the insulation and drywall is going to be going in around February. This is really good because the purpose of this is installing it a little bit later. What this allows us to do is make sure the insulation is going to stand up to some of the winter elements, and this extends the duration and the life of the house. And so some of the things have been timed in accordance so that they can be tested kind of as they're being built. And what this allows us to do, as I said, is essentially to put some testing and make sure they're not going to succumb to wear and tear quite so quickly. Because if they're going to stand up during the construction, more likely than not, they're also going to stand up as well for the duration of the lifetime of the house. Here's some of the supervision and our site logistics. So this is just to paint kind of a little picture for you in terms of where things are going to be laid out, how things are going to be setting up. And so you can clearly see there's going to be the house, and then the job trailer is going to be down off to the corner. The job trailer, the purpose of this is so if we have our superintendent present or if we have our crews, they can work out of there, they can print things. So we're not trying to communicate back and forth quite so often, having to print things in town. This just makes a lot of our logistics so much easier, is having actual on-site management that are there managing things. The purpose of the job trailer too is also we have a material staging yard However, with material staging, sometimes we have more valuable things. Some of the finishes in this house are going to be significantly nicer than other things, and so their values increased. And so to decrease the likelihood of those things being stolen off the job site, the job trailer is also going to have some extra space that will allow us to store some of the nicer fixtures, maybe some of the chandeliers. This is going to let us to keep them inside in a more locked and concealed placement. We also, of course, are going to have security present on the job site, and there's going to be cameras installed to prevent things in that way. But this is just an extra step that we're taking to make sure that the things that you're spending your money on are not going to be going to waste. The dumpsters are going to be located just behind the construction site, just behind where the house is going to be built. This is just kind of to prevent things from, we don't want the dumpsters to kind of be sticking out while we're building this beautiful house. If someone's going to be driving down the street and they look off towards your home, we want them to see how beautiful your home is and not just dumpsters out in your front yard. So we've moved them back intentionally just for that reason. The worker parking, of course, that just is where our crew is going to be. Landscaping is going to polish off everything after we finish the house. And so that we're not concerned about any kind of tire traffic or mud out, track out, that sort of thing. We're also going to, as you can see on the bullet points just to the side, we're going to have the secure perimeter fencing. This is in conjunction not only, again, to keep the job site secure, but this also acts as a silt fence. And so this is going to keep our contaminations down, and the likelihood of getting complaints about our dirt going in someone else's property is going to be very low. The job trailer, of course, as I mentioned before, I've explained why that's going to be there. It also helps us keep track of the materials we're using as time goes on. Material deliveries are scheduled from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. This keeps us within the bounds of noise limitations for the surrounding area. We've already checked with the local jurisdictions, and they're fine with the time frame that we've set up. We have permitting and all that sort of thing ready to go as soon as we get this contract set up. The dumpster placement, like I said, we're going to be moving it behind, and then the benefit of also having it behind and then still having access from that top part of the site is that just allows our clearance to come through, and it allows trucks to come and go without causing too many issues, and there won't be any issue in terms of the truck coming too close to the house and possibly causing any damages. And then finally, the last point I want to talk about is our daily supervision logs. These are going to be just logs that we have where every time we're laying down conduit, anytime we're putting in, for example, maybe we're putting in some piping of some kind, that's going to be recorded every single day. And so what we're going to be able to provide for you throughout this project is daily trackers, probably delivered towards the end of the week, that just show you every single thing that we did during a single day. And then there's something that maybe catches your eye or something you're concerned about, that's when you can reach out to me or someone else from the management team, and we'd be happy to answer any questions for you. Anyways, this is the information that we have, and I would love to talk more about this if you have any questions or concerns. My phone number is attached to the bottom of the presentation, included with the link. So if you have any questions, just give me a call or write me an email, and I'd be happy to talk about this with you further. Thank you.